Hi, good day. My name is Dr. Evans and I'm Deputy Head Teacher at Challney High School for Boys.
And I'm Samir Richards, the History Coordinator and the Head of Politics at Challney Boys.
And do you know what month this is? I mean, seriously, do you know what month this is? No?
Which?
It's Black History Month, and that's when we take time to celebrate the achievements of people of Caribbean and African origin to British society. However, over the years it has evolved, and what we now do is celebrate how diverse Britain has become. Now, I was just wondering, it might be very, very difficult to talk about Black History Month without referring to what happened during the summer. So, I've invited my resident expert in politics to tell us a little bit about what happened over the summer.
Of course, yeah. It's difficult to talk about Black History Month without talking about what happened this year and with the Black Lives Matter movement. After George Floyd's death on 25th of May earlier this year, it reignited the movement once more. George Floyd, of course, died in Minneapolis after being investigated for using a counterfeit note whilst purchasing cigarettes.
You know what, that's so sad, isn't it? Yeah.
It is terribly sad. And some would argue that racial relations in America, this is the straw that broke the camel's back.
Straw? Did you say straw?
Not quite that straw, Dr. Evans.
Okay guys, you know what? This is such a serious topic that sometimes it's good to take a mini break. So that's why we threw the straw in, okay? But let's be serious now.
Of course, and we do have to be serious because of the amount of people who have been murdered, and there are several famous cases over the last few years. Tamir Rice, Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, all to name but a few, and there are unfortunately hundreds of others.
Now, to be honest, you call a lot of names, but those are in the US. I mean, what does this have to do with the UK?
That is the US, but unfortunately the UK, although not having as prominent or as common cases, is not perfect. And there are cases over here too. Christopher Alder, a British paratrooper, died in police custody, and in 2011 the police and the government had to apologise for the inhumane treatment that led to his death whilst in a priest's cell. Despite that, the government or the police, no one's ever been held accountable.
You know what, that's so sad really.
It is terribly sad, and it is more common than we think. Stephen Lawrence is another famous case. Have you heard of him?
Oh yes, quite a few years ago though.
It was a long time ago. He died in 1993, but his case is still so important today. Many changes were made after his death, but we still have work to do. Black people are still 9.7 times more likely to be stopped and searched than their white counterparts.
Yeah, you know what you're saying is quite true. Only a few weeks ago, a barrister, somebody who legally qualified as a lawyer, went to work on a day where everybody was allowed to wear their casual clothing, but she was stopped 3 times during the course of the day as she did her job. Why? Because they assumed that she was a criminal and not a lawyer. 3 times that day. She was so angry that she posted this on Twitter.
And you know what? I bet even when she was applying for that barrister job, she found it even more difficult. Oxford University have found that people with foreign sounding names find it harder to actually get an interview.
Now that's the problem with stereotyping, isn't it? And that's why I love Black History Month. It's an opportunity to stop and reconsider how we treat others.
It's an opportunity for us to look at our own prejudices, and it's also a time to realise and recognise that some people do and are treated differently just because of their colour of the skin and their culture.
Thank you very much, sir, for all that you told us in terms of the background to what happened during the summer holidays. Now, what I'd like us to do is to pause a little bit here at Challney High School for Boys. Just pause. And whether or not you agree with Black History Month, remember we get chances to take a look at our own lives, our own prejudices, our own actions.
What do you mean?
Well, okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions because I know that you're very, very bright, right? I'm going to ask you some questions. And I just want you to tell me the first thing that springs into your head, okay? Now you can play along too. If I asked you about great sports people, who comes to mind?
Leo Messi.
Who is he? Oh, no, I'm just kidding. But come on, everybody thinks about him. But what about Haku Hasho?
I'll be honest, I didn't think of him.
He is actually the world famous sumo wrestler. In 2009, he held the record as one of the best non-Japanese sumo wrestlers ever. But nobody thinks about him.
that.
Okay, what about, okay, I'll give you a break, right? What about model? If I said to you, fashion model, what do you think of?
Yeah.
Okay, now, okay, right, okay, yeah, but did you think about this? Now, they are some of the best fashion models. They are male plus size models. And what I like about them is that they are who they are. No photoshopping, no changing, just who they are. And that works. Okay, so you're not doing too well at this quiz. Come on, are you doing better? Okay, last, very, very last question. What about an engineer?
Okay, I'm thinking female engineer.
Okay. Yeah, but that's
Right.
only because I'm changing the answers. That's why you're thinking female engineer. But did you think about this young lady? Her name is Stephanie Travis, and she works at Patrice Mercedes at Formula One. If she didn't do her job, people like Lewis Hamilton won't be succeeding. What's the point I'm trying to make?
That we shouldn't stereotype.
Okay, yeah. You know what? It's as simple as that. We shouldn't stereotype, because if we stereotype, it means that we put people into boxes, and we listen sometimes to false accounts of who people are or what they could be. And that's why I love working at our school. You know, I started at this school quite a long time ago.
How long ago?
Okay, I'm not going to answer that question. What I can tell you though, is that when I first started working here, people actually didn't think too highly of this school. So what did we do? Did we agree with that? Absolutely not. Did we give in to their prejudices? Not a chance. Did we give up? You gotta be kidding. If we had given up, we wouldn't be one of the best schools in this country. We wouldn't be one of the schools in the top 10% nationally in terms of results. If we had given up, we wouldn't be outstanding. And that's what we are, because we took time to ensure everybody was able to do their best. We didn't buy the stereotypes. We didn't give in to the prejudices. And that's what we're asking you to do this Black History Month. Have some time. Take some time to stop. Think about how people are treated, because that's important. Think about how we treat others, so that perhaps we can open doors rather than close doors.
Take a look at this video and take a look at what we've worked hard to create.
Isn't that fantastic? Do you know how many people are actually emailing Mr. Conger to say what a superb school we are, what a superb promo we've done? But you know what? We couldn't have done this unless it was a truth. So all we're asking really is try your best. So use this Black History Month as an opportunity to not only be aware of the injustices around us, but to recognize that you,
Staff and students.
matter. And if you matter, how can you possibly be unkind to somebody else?